The Tale of Genji. Miyotsukushi. Murasaki Shikibu. Try pray brief sotter do our only Moa. Tadamatsuru Rinami God Ran. Akiko. Ever since you vividly and superb appearance to dream of Genji of the night Genwashi of Suma. The Genji, which has been calmed by the Chichitai. The Shitaku want funeral earlier that your Bodhi become today that good bellflower which was. And it is the fermentation of the Lotus Sutra was held in October. To come together many of the attendees were such cases of long ago. Fudo Shikasaki to become also Yarusa, heavy today. But was to be Kuchio Shiku Obo Shimeshi that you did not say. Bad luck to drop the Genji even in that. Emperor made to thank you for your last will and testament of the hospital. Reward those days but since it is became afraid of you feel like falling onto himself. Was also Basa these days our mood becomes your very bright. Your Ganshitsu became sometimes violently, your noisy is also came to be your willing. But became a summons well Genji far lonely if their premonition such that in the end are short-lived, to be able to listen to the advised no separated also the political. The general public is also the opinion of Genji was pleased the court of the status quo to be widely adopted. Emperor although there is Obo Shimeshi's near your Harakuda position, was Obo Shimeshi that the scenes of Shoji is not news to aware. It is his death, the minister. Omiya also for all the time you bad, because I have any life expectancy as I feel like there is no. You cannot also receive anyone of protection. Worry that would be if made in solitude. From the beginning love you have towards other people. But I have not anything I thought. Because I'm you like more than anyone. Just things you think even at a time like this. Superiority person than I also even if I love life with you. And do as much as I do that not me as I think you. I'm being cry for you even think to do that. Quote. Emperor became come crying. In more gorgeous because they died the cheek to shame. To take a look from being shed Shoji also tears seemed a charm spilling. Any sin be Obo Shimeshi to be too much to forgive. Your love is better the ha just tilts to. I will why, you cannot be a child. It's a shame. Before and deep person of raw edge and I think there will soon also be the day that the joy is in. You're mortifying. But I'm sorry. Prince because not to produce. Also becomes the Lord said to be of such a future. Embarrassed heart at length became just sad. Emperor your appearance be to your beautiful. Deeply to become significant with your mind years to become a love you Shoji. Shoji knows. But Genji is a man with excellent. As this is the love that I think my has been also able to realize at last that not have been one of the also caused from young senseless is up to that major event. Not only do we hurt his honor, was supposed to be a struggle even to that person also think is in the. It also has all his own was sad also is because the fermentation woman. There is your ceremony of attaining manhood of the crown prince to the following year in February. 10 is to become there two of you in it. In spite of your age is your adult. You prefer clean. Just the face of the Dainagon of Genji became visible US can too. To become come equipped with a dazzling beauty. But in the world have praised you. Hahamaya became come in the secret struggle it. Emperor also I taught sported in the nostalgic your appearance that of your satisfaction the sported by your accession to the throne after becoming a there you are your venerable of the crown. Prince. That of abdication has been made 20 several days of this same month. Fudo Shikasaki became your surprise. I would be Fugoi Naku Obo Shimeshi, but I thus would like to quietly your discharge of filial duties to you. An emperor were became your comfort. The crown prince was birth you of Nyogo of Yukatama Wako Dono became Otashi. It became the day with a view of the light of the new reign to all of that. It was often tasted the gorgeous mood to listen to the eye to see and hear. Dainagon of Genji became Lord Keeper of the Privy Seal, the left and right of the Minister of the seat because it had occupied. And although this person also has been considered as a matter of course to become a regent, I could not bear to such a busy job. saying, "It gave the regent to Sadaijin of Chishi, because I am once the man was returned the job by illness. To have also old let alone today year, is useless as such as to hit on such re-election. The minister not undertake to say. Once people even to you as obligatory reign has become the era receded hermit that you are chaotic. Politics in China, complimented saying people like coming out to serve you without shame even white hair that it's saint. Of real users had. It does not have a permissible to again give me a place that became near decline in your disease to reign of the next emperor." Quote. And Genji was also advised as a private citizen as a public figure. Minister became Daijo Daijin also not completely otherwise. Year was 63. The fact is because it had been holed up if there is a place which is not enough tired of people who drew out power earlier in the morning. Is not spring flourished in this man has been around. 1 o'clock unfortunate way looked son who also seems to have left float. Chancellor or Lieutenant General among them was the right Chunagon. Chunagon had cherished brought up Gishi the princess to become this year 12 that you gave birth. 4 early in the Seraglio. A happy home to a child who sang the Takasago Kumbin brought to the hospital of the previous 2. Articles also the ceremony of attaining manhood Chunagon had. The most children born in the belly's clan of a lively Genji was envious. The son of Genji, which has been raised in Daijo Daijin house with beautiful children more than anyone else. Is are you out as a palace circles child also to the crown prince also to the imperial palace. That the dead Aoi wife of Genji. Parents also mourned in the spring Yuku this flourished. But all of the Guangming that has been brought about by Genji old son-in-law. A few years of the dark shadow as was taken away from this house for Genji. Genji is now also went to visit often in the case of something that has a favor to an old and his wife is the old days. While also long nanny other wife of Wakagimi to those who are working as it is. It is also Genji did not forget that all repay thick. It is not made many happy person. As that in article of the hospital. The wife did not even try to change the master Genji was Kogu. The Toku Lieutenant General. Also to those who had a mistress relationship or something Nakatsu Kasa. Of many years loneliness because was the must Wakata is caressed. Such as sufficient to Nagasamu did not outside walking even Genji if there is no spare time. From the mansion that Tanari to the east of the 2 articles of the hospital has been in possession of Genji and your heritage of the hospital these days Genji was allowed to newly renovated. Hanachi Sato is to have been made to the design of the order to live the lovers of such. Genji thought that was your pregnancy of Akashi. But Wasser, subjected to all the time care, in the abundance of things public and private, cannot even ask out the use. These days at the beginning of March did the use and feel pathetic to think that it should be a production period. Woman of the children are now born in the last month of the 16 days. Genji heard the news that is deeply felt the joy that was obtained for the first time of the girl by the mistress. Why it was regrettable whether did not the production is called a Kyoto. Fortune the fortune of Genji. A child in 3 people. Born emperor and later, the child of destiny inferior most in Daijo Daijin, will master the position of the retainers. The lowest woman in it is a girl it was told that it would become the mother. In addition, since Genji had been also said to occupy the highest position as retainers. It is the words of the famous phase people who were about to all match. For many years was in adversity as to deny to mind such a thing it was no other. By the skilled emperor was enthroned but was happy to Genji. It does not Nozomi with the honor of Takamakura on top of itself was not a bit too different from the boy of the day, and I think it has some seriously. When many of the prince are Chichitai you have finished love to excellent and think your spirit that has become every yourselves to a column of retainers. I think it is to distinguish it from his own luck and Tenny was Genji. As a demonstration Genji to meet well-phased human words. Now emperor of your accession to the throne it seemed. from the fact that after to sign the news of Akashi to the fact that born from one person myself, from destined to become a mother after also that person by the patronage of God of Sumiyoshi, father of the priest, is enough to drive the Shinmei to the natural one-sided son-in-law to choose. Kyotai will have also show us the person should be a place of after Genji thought I was allowed to born in the countryside is it? Waste sorry, it was not thought that will call to Kyoto if for some time. Hasten the construction of the east of the hospital, since a considerable amount of nanny in the countryside, such as the Akashi, it does not appear it in his Ariyo. Although the father in the woman's daughter that infused that had been the wife of Chichitai was a man was Kunaikyo Prime Minister. Shinoakare also the mother. I hear recently Genji a story that gave birth to children from the love relationship to one of the lonely life, to call the person who reported the rumor the daughter of the Prime Minister, including the negotiation of the things that go to Akashi as a nanny of the Princess of Genji. It was this woman is from the innocent nature still young and have love in the morning and evening of life, that live in just a pensive in the lonely rough at all shop, without thinking deeply, the better it capable of living in the place where it took the edge of Genji. It is also no way have a seer from the past, I came to accept immediately. Genji I pitied the daughter of the Prime Minister who was the country down, had been doing to prepare for various and departure. Genji in passing that you go out closer to the softly of a new nanny of my son home. Although it was asked to convey readily agreed. It should be noted that since the woman came copper Genji onwalor to the place that had been agony to, in Nagusan also mind go on a journey. Give up with, I will as of the will. I had to say, just Genji was to be to stand immediately because there was also a lucky day. But it seems there is no sympathy. I guess because the child, which is also a special thought to the future. It because I also a life of the land came to experience. Become accustomed if the well initially only for a while endure think so. And Genji was heard talking about the details of that of Akashi at the priest house. Also there that had come together in the mother beside you of Chichitai. But was sometimes seen face. Appearance had declined compared to the previous. Has become quite terrible rough how well is state of the house. Only truly wide is not wide but become more trees. Such as also Shigeri all you can see Kimiwaru ku is enough to be thought whether been living why in such a house. Because was a beautiful our woman at the young Yaor. Genji was interesting partner also to Orsehuten. I feel like irreversible is. I do not want to do you like to far away. What? It is said that, if accustomed to the body to be used beside the direct Genji, and will be able to forget any of the past misfortune, has become the woman to object pathetic feelings. Farewell Hanedo if and in the unexpected for some time more separated as Karu or each to those. Oshiki, I guess let's go together. And when the Genji says the woman laughing, cherishing Hiawasi knew for those who do omola each a reluctant farewell peaning. And ridicule was also, only during the Kyoto did in the car. Put one person close samurai. It is merely the nanny was sent to one of the secret. Those of the princess defensive sword so, was of such a number of gifts to the young mother has been entrusted to a nanny. Plenty of money and goods have had been being paid to a nanny. Genjian would be that important once and no matter how grandson priest was the smile by imagine the various cases. Lover became a mother was also omoiara to pathetic. The heart of these days of Genji had exhausted inclination to Urakashi. Princess and had been repeatedly Jiami in his H. Polymorpha cursory also to the letter. When edition Hisaki Yurak Naden Defart the Tamiko the world to do sleeves Uchikake. Is the song like this also sent was to the border of Setsu in the ship. Nanny arrived to Akashi on horseback from it. Priest received a very glad this line. It thrilled to be about worship the better of Kyoto. And finally princess appeared in precious things. It terrifying seemed to important things. Look at the beautiful face of the nanny is small princess. An intelligent Genji thought is that mostly said that it is to take care of I think in the future. So lonely on the way to come. Was able to forget by this also. Such is pain of horrible as I thought journey. Nanny I think very cute and dealing with a young princess. Young mother and a birth in the body that is debilitating for pensive consecutive if several January. Although life did not think also what follows. The sincerity of Genji, which was shown at this time is comfort naturally. Power was also as keep up with. Send priest even to come was samurai and was the hospitality that wholeheartedly. In trouble samurai to polite treatment. I do not quickly bellflower and because you probably made to wait to hear for your appearance. Here, and it was also to say, Akashi of you is a little right your impressions. One person to Fukrane awaits each a shadow of just Kutsugaya fu to defunct extent of the sleeve. And it came to be served with a song. About suspicious Genji is suffering from a heart child of Akashi. I feel, not help but want to see was. The wife is not so much the story of Akashi, but I think is so uncomfortable to come here from the other. Genji was the story of your birth of Akashi. It is what life is nasty. I think I want to be so to you not likely to be. Such as a child in such a place is born. And I because I was a girl. Resulting in pessimistic, acha in, but I wish I can put. It is that you cannot be so. If you look at a parent. Share them with your summon to Kyoto. I hated him should not. Quote, always will be your tired even my own and I think is said as I is such a woman. But to become a woman is a likely to resentment properties will such because there is just such a thing. The queen's uranium. So, who is probably wearing such a habit? You will be sad as I am because a grudge against the actual my will into not me Wakaro the mood. To conjecture that it is not my thought. Genji got in tears while you are saying. No matter how the thought of separation era this person is trying to Taro I missed. The Genji had been recalled and will be those that how sad word has been served in the letter that had written seasons. It is such as that of Akashi of woman compared to that life it did not appear at a certain love. It is because there is also considered to have an out the used children to me is fuss. Also bad because you take to talk from now, and to not continue the story. I thought like a good woman is believed that it was because of the location. Anyway, I thought it was unusual there is not a mediocre. He talked about the mother of the child and the like, that the smoke of grilled flowing through the front of the sky in the evening of farewell. The word said of the woman. Criticism of the modest woman of appearance than the true. Speak of Genji and virtuoso seems Kodo playing so the fu unexpected is forgotten queen you are. Listening to is that era in his will that was no matter how lonely I think alone. And Urameshiku to think that the era Karen Imoke Yojin is that had divided the heart to the people. Akashi of woman the Yojin that the Tansoku for and so is a good man. Facing towards the horizontal, no matter how I will Taro sad. Tansoku from saying, as soliloquy, while Omudochi yield us without roughness to those who each have such prior to smoke. What's that is not that pathetic. Only to sink float anyone by the world to go to rev constantly unexpected tears to see melts. It is misunderstood until the layers of I want to die anymore. Also think that I do not want to harm the feelings of the people clogging unexpected thing in. Only one of do not you for a long time want happiness I day with you my wish. Quote, Genji is a scraping alignment of 10 3-stringed instrument, but it is to recommend to the queen and play. Do not try to touch even jealous or hand woman who is said to Genji and I thought it was virtuoso. It's a soft feeling of the women and beautiful Daisama. Expected, and jealousy. There is also possible to make even belly that the blame is, along with a more complex beauty, and it can show a more favors this person. Genji was wondering. Genji and will of May 5th day falls on a celebration of the 50 days is not secretly counted. The expression is omoianara, its children were not helped but miss. If you had a child who was born to the Queen of Purple, Is a pity that it would, no matter how gorgeous those of the formula that he was doing it carried out. And born in the father of the dog place in that country had been thought to be person of the wear. If the boy Genji also would not suffer from this fact to this. But seems to be cannot bear it that you want to keep with a drawing back to the girl may have a hope of later. His luck is this, I thought even that it is not completely at one point. Genji for 50 days issued an errand to Akashi. I go as it is on the day. And news that had been ordered Genji arrived to Akashi to 5 days. Many of Genji along with many practical products in addition to the delicate congratulation product is the gave. What a virus intui to the Millennium without a shadow, also how hypnotic. I think miss enough to escape the soul because from I think that I cannot bear this suffering. Please make it come out to Kyoto. Click here to it is not absolutely that is you the unpleasant feelings in. It was a letter that priest was crying thrilled as in the example. It is a different crying and crying face of the departure of the date of Genji. Provision of formula in Akashi had been the flashy. If the use of the report did not come to see, seemed would that it did not matter how sunny. Nanny also familiar with your gentle temperament of Akashi. Become willing to give a good friend. Today things lived without thought. The such is that the wife worked to come here as much as the house of the woman close to the identity of the priest there is whether several people, but those of the elderly. Such as it was exhausted ground in Miyazaki of Kyoto speaking of whether even though there is more to that in the country down to does from the bitter of life. This nanny is still-ish daughter, yet have a pretentious heart. Talk about Kyoto, which saw its own. Talk about the court of Sing Sing House. It could be heard telling the inside of the flashy appearance of the fact that either the minister of Genji is how is a mons from society. All the time was talking also only exaggerated one to woman's emotions. From the nanny story, today until the after the man broke up even asked a favor. And what a you and Akashi of you are finally become these days is not the happiness of being me love child gave birth of there I began to think. Nanny is not read together a letter of Genji. Human beings are there also people who have so surprising lucky too. But the miserable was sad to be only their own. That of whether the nanny is if also in the back to each other is written. Was satisfied because it can be known that Genji is interested in myself. Response. Without each person food a how visited today the crane rather than to me the only island which is not become number. While variously I do pensive, there will have even a fleeting I have been in life to hearing Tomasaka. In their shaking recognize the light on the future of the children as the Lord said. Then that I trust the mood had appeared many times while looking back the same letter is pitiful. You're talking to himself by pulling the long voice in. His wife is looked on sideways, saying low as ship rode of the far from Mura. Kanasuru separated in the other if us. Not to things omowashi likely it was. All I not love this woman up to be seems bad to you so much. It's just it is just a love. From time to time the bottom of scenery or come to mind in the eyes. I made at the time of the feelings I take. With Tansoku is by you out of the mouth. Whatever it is to care about. Quote, and the like. Showed the only letter that was written to the overrep while saying a grudge against his wife. Saw the lady also. Such as embarrassing in Good's handwriting. Mrs. thought is because it is this way. Something like this being chased just to take the mood of the Queen of Purple. Not made of Genji a night to visit the flower Chisato is that poor little for the woman. These days was a public service also busy Genji. On. Which is also cramped identity that to go out unexpected must be out in accordance with many servants. Genji know that flower Chisato the person is a person which is not also given stimulation stand out. Is to stand beside the heart and if nay millet today it was not even. To the days of early summer rain was remember the Surezure also Genji. So we're just public service also a leisure. When Omoida and to the place of that person. visit with your Genji also not go as had not neglected to protect the life of this family. Even if the person who relies on it claim. Genji looked comfortable just their own Hikume because I was on the order of Tanku. Within a few years Tainai is finally rough. Was a wide residence like wow. From speaking in the Nyogo sister place. Hit the west of Sumato after the night is dandruff. Genji has come in at gloss of appearance from the doorway the plugging of Obororo Nitsuki. That it is out in the place where refers beautiful Genji and the moon was embarrassed. But the flowers from the beginning Chisato was on as it is because it was out there. This attitude was to ease the feelings of Genji. Waterhen is listening to the cry of near. We put the month on had a rough upcoming in if not surprised OJ Waterhen. Woman who this say without even referred to in the old tone seemed to feel well Genji. Any person to know that a power catching himself Genji was painful. Also what put the sky becomes the month of right wing if surprised at the across the board hit. Waterhen, I cannot have peace of mind, quote, had said that. It is a play of words. Genji is fully believe in the chaste flower Chisato. A person who is quietly waiting for during the long absence without also be upset what? Genji did not think that neglected, but not sad time being empty and so live not looked, was to say recall, such as that of night Genji said before going in for. Why at that time I would have thought it would be very sad. I like as to was still lonely. Also incredibly now came back the happiness to you. That is to say the Daisama without both resentment and was lovely. Genji as in the example had comforted the woman with all the words. It seems to think if this man of passion for each other was put away hero. If these opportunities are also made. But one the Genji was hoping to see you in 5 festivals of Daini. It must be seen as 5-section visit also realized difficult. The woman is not able to forget the Genji. Have sent a day pensive a lot. Without Toriawa the marriage story to encourage to Karakor worried parents. I thought I do not need is like a woman of happiness decent. Genji east of the hospital is not haunty. Because there was then is made to the building trying populated attracting such people. If there is to come can daughter if Kashizuki to the ideal as expected. The advisor rated Genji was wondering if such a talented woman of the 5 festivals as a woman is a person required. East of the hospital is to have been built in an interesting design. Is a bright home as are suited to modern life. It was not made in the allocation of the densha to each person with a good taste in the local government. Genji was wondering Miss Shoji even now, as people have never learned by experience. Also it has become enthusiastic about could also be a go crisis. Is in love for the environment has become humble and women that show the unbridled force. Genji as the old days that there is no such show temptation to the echo of. Genji world becomes cramped and be their own status. Become a cold one. Felt that was not satisfactory. Inzarasobasa made you to carefree. Became come live and elegant sporting and well you like the music of the meeting. Nyogo but is also samurai to leave the dressing also at the time of your reign. Only Nyogo of his mother of crown princes. You're in collection previous rather than that there was a favor. One of the concubines that he is sorry to Shoji it was only become a result of blessed with unexpected happiness stunning with each other to samurai to goze show of the crown prince in the imperial palace away only one person. Current of night duty office of Genji even still old Kiri pot. Because the crown prince were to become come live in Nishitsubo. Genji for in your neighborhood is in intimate contact with the palace. Your guardianship of natural crown prince now also. Since it was impossible to sport in the position of also new to your queen mother the house of priest, was also basa to Nyoin according to Daijo Tenno. Determines the sealing countries. There is the appointment of Intsukasa, which also appeared with your fine you about herself that Masa, standing one step to become your life the good deeds merit related to Buddhism and Obo Shimeshi as vocation. It became common diligence. and out of the long imperial palace also became come to withhold. But now will enter you to the imperial court in a free you feel not. Was the sports will be out of your queen mother became come a grudge against life. Genji was a tribute to the good offices of favor to this man in the case of something. The Fudoshikasaki were many who whisper and would be your painful. Hayabusa Prince rank of Genji, made to show you a callous attitude to the deprivation era. Just Habaka, the only here of the world. That was not to grant us any protection even for your daughter. The Genji at the time been allowed to reproachful I think. Did not the other old so close your dating? While the general public was a person to be universally minutes for mercy. Only to Hyobu lord of the temple family and to be a little revenge specific treatment. The temple of the priest has been painful Oboshimeshi. The modern and there are two large force of 1 Daijo Daijin. One is in it Lord Keeper of the Privy Seal of Genji. Everything also decided preference in this two people's well. Was the everything also Kes. Quan Shunagon, daughter went to the seraglio in August of that year. Take care of everything was gorgeous Shitaku if you are a minister of the grandfather. Hayabusa Prince also made to come with the aspiring to put the second princess to concubines. That their reputation anxious important to contact Enzu. Genji were not think also their honor to the princess. Genji also do not know or going to recommend the kind of person to concubines. Genji this fall was the Sumiyoshi pilgrimage. Suma, in order to fulfill Godgun stood in Akashi. It has become a very large-scale journey. Courtiers as we also wanted our original entourage. Just was this day. Your Akashi is the to pilgrimage each year of the example. Last year also serve as also apologize that could not be play if there is this spring also touch. Came by boat to the Sumiyoshi. The as you closer toward the coast is a matrix of ornate pilgrimage come to continue to carry the sacred treasures to be donated looked. Musician, was each other to choose the also beautiful man who of 10 columns. I for every one of your pilgrimage or, when the ship of those who hear to the land and, oh, there are also people who do not know your pilgrimage of Lord Keeper of the Privy Seal like Gogan. Played. Kaiju Toko also doing good seems to say who the class. What was would be by chance. But with as there is no other month Akashi of you are surprised. Look at the Hanabinashi of much lover. Acutely that this is on top of myself that too much of two Kenkaku I know mourned. Although it was no that are connected to only the fate indeed stumble across Yosonagara. On the day that shines in even happiness samurai went laughing. So deep his of Zaisho be embarrassing to come in without knowing anything it was just sad and hold. I will aloe. Deep green of Matsubara of flowers and look like autumn leaves has been sown more many who. Akaho is ranked 5th, but Asagi is a 6th place. Brewers stood in the eye and blue also the same 6th place. I grudge against the great god of the Kamo Yukon Susumu become Chafu. It had come to become a flashy brewers who brought Tsujin. Yokiyoshi also was one of the gorgeous red who is the same Chafu Sasaki. The people who had come to Akashi is mixed in people with gorgeous figure different from the old days of the remnants were found from the ship. Young Kenkanas, and the appearance of fancy to compete with the palace circle's officials. Is one line that are doing a delicate up to the horse and saddle. Was amused eyes of the countryside of onlookers. When the car was riding Genji came. Akashi of you could not accept I miss people in embarrassment. A person of honor of Dogyo in the example of Sadaijin of Kawahara Genji Iser bestowed. They pretend beautifully. Here is 10 people who enclosed a Mizura of 2 wheels Moto Yui physician of the blur of purple. Divided. It is a beautiful child having a uniform also tall. In recent years is less forgiven persons with no unusual Zujin. Wakagami was born in the minister of the house is not put on the horse. It is given a several squad of horses soy child was in costume of aligning the one by one squad. The best and so such thing as a child of the aristocracy is such a thing. When I saw going through is important treated from a large number of people. Is your Akashi without any shadow to see while also have brothers his son it was sad and are being treated. I had been praying for the child finally facing your company. Setsu Mamoru was entertainment a line coming out. Of course. It is to become that different naturally and dealing with the pilgrimage of the ordinary minister. You are more and more their own. Akashi looked miserable. It will be untimely at a time like this to kept to be the eyes of God even give you his poor Gohei, such as myself, nor can it become home today by turning the boat toward the Naniwa, where I think it is better to be an exorcism. You ride ship of Akashi was quietly left to Sumiyoshi. Genji such a thing was not known dream. Overnight hosting a variety of music Fugaku to wide before. Exhausted to the other such that the joy of God. Genji that more than had been promised in the past of cancer to God as you did. Both the people the hardship and Genji that such Waiguang had felt the virtue of God of the Sumiyoshi is great, Waiguang said when came a little out of Genji to the outside. Pine Sumiyoshi only thing is a FOMO over that of Kanashiki gods. Genji was also thought so. Forget ya's over if the god of Sumiyoshi to Mayohi rough anticipated Sina. Sure I'm the person who saw the miracle. Quote, how to say beautiful. It is also Waiguang told that here in recoil in flashy pilgrimage the first time in the Akashi of the ship has gone toward the Naniwa. Genji in head without knowing that fact and he had NDE mercy in mind. Is thought to God also Sumiyoshi also today the beginning of it is not the difference in the guidance of the love to people. I want to comfort send a letter. I thought that it would be was rather saddened approaching. Line of Genji from standing Sumiyoshi went out to Naniwa while I love the coast of scenery. Where was supposed to be an exorcism. Looking at the banks of the hoary bill of exorcism is erected to Nanase of Yodogawa. When on it now Hata made the same Naniwa. Reach and solder brief even with all your body. With us knowing mouth. Or from the nearby car of Waiguang heard humming. And short brush of the pattern that had been prepared for flashlight. As in the example and it would be used that was provided when tacked the car of Genji. Genji was to write to Kaishi. To mark the shake love all your body and to a brief give an edge puff up here. If you passed Waiguang, in the man who performed to Akashi, I did to your ship of Akashi was to use as person who had been Kokoro Yasuku the person of priest. House. Even I saw the flashy one line goes through the Naniwa. The woman to the place where only fermentation of itself was not sad to think. Just thrilled with that came sent. But it is a little bit of news crying it was only the beginning Omoi doing anything himself to be whether without it wouldn't if the number of this reply is attached to the cotton of exorcism in the field Minajima's came to the place of Genji. Just it was supposed to sunset at the time of the evening high tide. From the fact that many feel the shame to the body with each other making a cry also crane you are in the sea. Genji thought even I want to go to see you without have to refrain from the public eye. It is hidden not in Suyuke of the island in the name of Tabagoro Mo Field Mina upcoming like the old days. And Genji was of being sung. One person Genji and people who have amused the pleasure of the journey became a sometimes dark heart. People rich young curiosity even officials. Show sealed with an interest in the prostitute who come together by Koga a small boat. Genji was supposed to feel bitter to see it. Fun of love is also not come going to be equipped with a value should be respected in the person of interest even if not that enough to say that love to frivolous person thought to be cannot have interested from the beginning. Kandahara was despised the people who were with glee to the other party. Akashi of you the next day that one line of Genji stood the Naniwa was worshipped the Gohei went to Sumiyoshi because I was also a lucky day. Cancer of the person only is also were played. From the back to his hometown to become the person to a pensive bit more than ever. Lived out and about herself is not the number of people. You're soon Genji from the thought that it was time to get the other Genji to Kyoto came to Akashi. I had brought the letter that you want welcome to Kyoto in the near future. Is his, which is recognized as one of the reliable Fu-in lover. A woman by the Genji of love is considered to be or will to continue unchanged until the after. Leaving standing hometown to Kyoto was suffering. Priest is also is that I'll release the daughter from hand is to appear to anxiety. Become rather hard time more than age to feel even miserable be placed in this state the country to say that I see the relationship between the Genji did not occur it seemed. From the woman was the answer that proceeding to the capital cannot be without the confidence to go out into the bright people around the Genji. Saiku the beginning became the rain even if your change. Miyasunda Koro of 6th row came back from ice. It's since Genji is to represent a lot of the old days are more of favor. Yet do not think going to receive so-called burning embers about the love of reproachful of the. There was Genji of mind even the young was the day. The other two people since Miyasunda Koro and there shall be no friend or more of negotiations had decided to. It is not to be like Genji also go to visit on its own. By force be allowed to consent to that warm the old information. To the does not result also to want Urameshi the woman while his thought is Genji so that it can not guarantee. A glance is now also like to attend to the woman of the house there is also that which is often catching. I did not dare to go to visit have the people who do not said to wait. When the cycle will so come become. No matter how fine lady. I thought want to see it in the eyes. Miyasunda Koro had lived fu of last Koga to repair well the former residence of the 6th row. Sophisticated hobby is now also a rich, elegance man visits Tinai's many good wife office. Although lonely as there than it appeared to be a life worthy of pretentious lady. Miyasunda Koro is horribly that if several years had been away in Buddhism there on the border of God's eyes became. Koko Robosoku becomes suddenly seriously ill it seems that in became none. Genji heard, then thought of as a lover. Been spared a good mentor and believed they were the person's life with an opinion that is assent. Visited his 6th row house with surprise. Genji care for Miyasunda Koro from sincerity. Continued the words to comfort Miyasunda Koro. In the vicinity of the bed there is a seat of Genji. Miyasunda Koro was saying things while consuming Yurita Kyosoku. Very Genji for old lover with a view of the weakness was crying. It is whether or not love how much then not sorry and Bransenaban are the bereavement leave cannot show to demonstrate to this person. The heart of the Genji seems through to Miyasunda Koro. Miyasunda Koro to old lover found sincere ask that of Saiku. Because there is to become orphans. Not please refer to the care and thought that one of the child in the case of something. People go ask the other is for everyone that there is no lonely about her herself. Also like me who, a little more life I understood I wanted to give they discuss until around year of what that. After you have said this, and continued to cry Miyasunda Koro enough to think that it would be losing the care as it is. Because your words also of course I have no I think the Saiku in mind that does not change with the father. Let alone you that is to talk to me now to be so anxious during your illness. Also responsibility to anywhere you and each other accepted with. Such as the concern is not to become a bit too, you think. Quote, when Genji say things like, you will find that the break bit of your bone easily. People have asked after is also a father of true. But still it because you think it would be lonely daughter without a mother. Let alone to train lover. Such as is made to your put. It will be a hard time unexpected. Also I think it would be in discomfort towards the other. It is bad imagine I do not become. But never like that handling. From my own experience. That person would like to be the person you are in life without also love virgin. Miyasunda Koro was saying, I thought is intended to be until a surprising conjecture Genji also. My recent you know what has become. No matter how serious man, old that you said has kept the remnants of self-indulgence life is regrettable. Will be become the natural guest. And he said, the other outside was dark. since the faint flicker of light had pierced through Kicho of Byosho. Or look at quietly by in his house shall accept from the rip of Kicho. There was the figure of an old lover in the not bright light. In uncut hair about as not hanging on the back appears to beautiful gorgeous figure which was based on Kyosoku. It was like a painting. Genji felt like dying pathetic. People who are laid only at the book table of easterly seems made of you in front Saiku. When the Tarajinu of Kicho is toward the staring eyes from between the disturbed. The temple is so come in sadly with the Hozu. Although it is not visible only a little seemed ish beauty. As it takes the hair. The noble beauty such as the shape of the head also is found also how a modern gorgeous charm. While facilities. Miyasunda Koro is thought that since it is talking to Anani preventative. Genji was holding a heart that moves. We have become very painful again. Please longer your way because you will find it rude. And Miyasunda Koro to say, was lying with the help of my wife. How can I should become better your mood even a little because I have heard. I feel sorry. What way do painful you? Saying, because Genji tries to Nizoko the floor. Miyasunda Koro was allowed to tell the words of farewell to wife. And now please do put long thank you danger because there's a place that has come of Mononoke. To the hour and minute that became so bad sick. We would happy in that there is a deeper karma also gave me come on. Here how I thought by and we had things that I was able to talk even a little. You will think Tanamashiku and will us to lend our strength to the bereaved family. Quote, I would please that we please to me important your will. Although Princess Yi of the hospital is to come a lot, because those who will please be friends with me I do not have too much. The Saiku hospital is himself as it has been Oboshimeshi of the column of Princess I also was wondering. Let's we Mutsumajiku as a brother. And because I do become around there may be a child of even another several person years. Saiku my thing insufficient will us to compensate. Quote, Genji was back at referred to as such. Then the use of the sympathy of Genji when also Shigeru people than before. Then 7 or Miyasunda Kuroda after 8 days died. An impermanence of life is sad. Genji became Kokorobasoku is not hold up without also palace visit. Was such as made the orders for the funeral of Miyasunda Koro. It was a 6-row house. Such as a person who had been in and out intimate, etc. Before the Tsukasa Saiku of officials is not only to efforts to prepare the funeral came to slightly. Genji himself came to Homui after it had sent a courtier. When the relayed a message of condolence to Saiku. Just because everything does not know for sadness it is now. And now let's say you put a woman equerry. You may have submit Nasu, his will to me. Is just happy if you have. Please Oboshimeshi and harmonious Humi from now. And Genji from saying, ordered that the various calls the people of Miyaki. Because I was very reliable attitude. The old days it seems we are also eliminating feelings of some Urameshi wants to have the family. People, funeral personnel sent from the better of Genji. Was of the Miyasunda Koro of the funeral came a myriad of employees was executed in Yaokira. Genji is holding a lonely heart. Was the Buddha work sends a vegetarian of the day put down a bamboo blind in the living room. While I think a long time ago, the previous Saiku had all the time sent a letter of sympathy. From the time that your sorrow of the temple has been a little subsided began to become right also. Answer by yourself. But was to be Oboshimeshi embarrassed it? From such as Nanny, because you will find it a waste. To say, it's become is recommended that you write in the autograph. Snow becomes sleet, also in white becomes snow such rough weather. Genji has issued a use while the imagination and Wilmia become the come to think how lonely. Do you need in what you feel on the day of this kind of weather? Each heaven takes orchidin of the deceased to get off disturbance caster defunct sky sad. I had sent a letter of paper as the cloudy sky blue had been used. I think so there is a good impression in the eyes of young people. Letter of Genji wrote painfully was dazzling spectacular. Although the temple is of the Oboshimeshi difficult to write a reply. We from your view I degrading because they're rude, and because wives is your responsibility. Gray paper and scent smell so gloss that was not the up. In the writing, such is not conspicuous. To disappear unexpected barking sad oyster lives myself or think'll shake the hand world. It became the far writing. In quiet shofu, and a Daisama. Not a good character but was some of the goods. Genji since I became your good eyes become Saiku is was not interested in this person. No longer now people in the Kikaki. Since it is to be seen as one of the women that have been released from the parents. And it became a good time whispering the heart that I think as a lover. And something like this seems to at the same time. It should not be. I thought to be your four. It Miyasunda Koro there is also that had care about that point. It would be the world also see has its suspicion. Yourself trying to completely different clean handling to the temple. Which His Majesty is recognized now whatish little adult waiting for a time. Before Saiku attempts to put the concubines. His lonely little children came up with the Genji and trying to find the fun in that Kashizuku the adopted daughter. Kindly I have sent a letter of all the time asked. When something was also to go to 6 row house on its own. Excuse me. I think instead of the mother. When Sue make your acquaintance no withhold. We will have to feel that my sincerity is can know. But it is to say. Such as. The temple is very shy and shame is strongly discouraged. Because was to become in your thoughts as the unexpected depend also think that it is also to hear. In a faint voice to the opposite sex, and cannot recommend also wives. Was the docility of the temple struggling? Woman Bedo, maid of honor, are you attached your well as the royal family of the daughter of the other your relatives? Even if there is that hope that is latent in my mind is realized. It seems not a person inferior mixed in among other lovers and those that want to see the face of this person. I also such a thing because was Genji who is. Well the people who do not socialize as a foster father was brilliant. Yet since it is not May what will be its own mind. I had thought before, such as desire to imperial bridal parties entry into the court the Saiku and it is better not to. Place telling people Genji. People of the 6 row house in Genji who put especially force. Such as the Buddhist memorial service of the deceased had been grateful. 6 row house will be lonely in accordance with the day goes on. Oncoming more and more Koko Robosoas. Increasingly those who go down gradually as well. Such as wife of Miyasunda Koro. In the 6 row under much today. In Kyogoku as closer to the east since it is closer. There is a loneliness of the more suburban. Your tears of Saiku also the sound of the bell of the evening of the temple was often invited. Also to say that the mother, Mia and Miyasunda Koro the only one parent only child, was your life that not even 10 several years away moment. Saiku it was the lack of a few examples that are to go together with your mother-kun. The more of his mother became a teaser tear together by forces. Only the way of death just became to come alone you to become a thought is. Was your sorrow, not run out of Saiku. Although the man was often in each class to the suitor and the wives to the intermediary. Genji is to nanny us. Do not do things that would cause the problem that the selfish into the temple like. So it had given the attention seems to parent and is of such things as to want uncomfortable Genji. Is also fit me if she and I think each and unexpected must refrain. So did not all be if. As that would hack a row for favoritism. In palaces in the ritual of Taikyokuden was a solemn down to become the day of his Saiku. From when it becomes to see the beauty. Not think even the people of this world. There then has been Misoboshi Meshi. After Bellflower. Come to the imperial palace of the hospital. Is living in the same way as such as my sister's house. That of the house and it is also some of which became to sign up to the deceased's Miyasunda Koro. The better of Miyasunda Koro is into the chokiest samurai also several people in hospital. To be going without a person seems patron is miserable. That hospital is all the time you're sickly also. of the same widow and his mother my wife, and it was the one that was hesitate to insana. Unexpected may result to the grief. Could be anyone, much less or taken now as to enter your, such as to the concubines of the hospital. To take care of the house we are of you think, is the better of the hospital there is your eagerly still the Lord said. Genji heard this story. I thought it is sorry to put us to the court as intercept those who are come once hospital. Your appearance of the temple is a truly beautiful and pretty. This is at all other it becomes to feel sorry that he gave to the place. I said to the house of the priest I mentioned the fact that it cannot decide if there is such a hidden fact. Mia Sunda Koro of mother, but it was a very intelligent person. On now to be shed yukina from my walkage of mistakes. I was supposed to think that the person who reproachful life, but either than you think Kokoro Guro Shiku. I have now had would have to die that person without being forgiven. You died there then started to say things psycho a little before. Tashimishite me, more than I heard indeed is thank Yureshu to think that it is going begging as a person with good faith to execute a will, even in unrelated people, because the people became circumstances of orphans is a thing that is sympathy. And there is much less earlier that, even after he died, I was wondering if I want to do as much as get to forget the old grudge as the soon you are thinking many things the future of Saiku. But not even His Majesty smoked did Yurishai become Roshiku adult. Because I still you're young speaking from your year. You will find a being also think that there is a need to be a bin samurai little year older. Nyogo. It also. However you like it this way it will itadako and incidental aligned to become Seth alike. Quote. And say. I please consider that very good. Institute also come so much you're enthusiastic. Like you're pitiful, but you might be sorry. And to the fact that because there was your last will and testament of the mother. Nothing in the face which is not to know you sure you want if you're up to the imperial palace. These days institute become a blend you feel in fact such a thing. Because also heard that Irasharu put the mind just to work for the French. Things like that too you may leave now and will not be such that the stomach immediately also. Quote, in and decided to your like Seth fell. I as let's we the thing about that expressed their favor to it. I have your respect for so hospital. I have prejudiced your emotions as it hanging in the 100 way thinking is not. But the world will be managed in what the critics. Quote, Genji had my name and so on. Later on also welcomed the Saiku everything even ignorant face to the article of the hospital. Imperial bridal party's entry into the court became the Genji also feel that trying to not pushed from Jitai, saying that idea to his wife. I think to be a friend or say, harmony and I think look good to have two people to live in. Because he said, it was also willing ready to become moved to the hospital of the two articles of Saiku Queen. Palace of the priest and the temple of the Lord Hyobu is. Because was the so come to know that is not to educate the princess with the purpose of concubines. Containing. In today Genji and the temple is in discord. Genji to the princess was Kokoro Guro Shiku Obo Shi Meshi and will to the will to take the kind of attitude. Princess of Chuinagon had been called Nyogo of Wadai Hiroshi. They become the nephew of Daijo Daijin. His family was a gorgeous concubines who were making a great background. His Majesty has been Oboshi Meshi as may also be your playmate. Because of the same year around the Nyogo of Hyobu Lord of the Princess also Hiroshi Wadai in the temple. So because only increase the guys too much dolls play. It is that it is happy to say the care of His Majesty to have an Nyogo when a little of the year. A priest of the temple is begun to humans. It was before came to our proposal to Miyaki as your own will a matter of imperial bridal parties. Entry into the court of Saiku. Genji has been Asobasa your trust in good faith to make your guardianship was attentive in behalf of the emperor. Even if there is your own to become a go-you to the imperial palace for our body are weak. To be a long time as you stay as your it is not able to become as it to exit. Was also should be a little Nyogo as an adult in such terms. Thank you for your viewing. If you like, please subscribe to the channel. I am very encouraged.